The Adventures of David Perkins. Like, subscribe, comment. Hello and welcome to the Adventures of David Perkins. This time I'm walking around Pendennis Castle and St Mawes Castle in the county of Cornwall in England. The headland of Pendennis and the point of St Mawes greet each other across the mouth of the river Fal, a wide, deep estuary known as Carrick Roads. By the 1530s, relations between England, France and Spain had deteriorated due to King Henry VIII of England's annulment from his first wife, Catherine of Aragon, and the ensuing religious rift with the Catholic Church of Rome. At this time, piracy and privateering were tolerated and even encouraged by the opposing seafaring nations. One such incident occurred in the year 1537, when Spanish and French ships fought each other along Carrick Roads. Afterwards, an important local gentleman, John Arundel of Trerris, petitioned the king for guns in blockhouses made upon our haven, else we shall have more of the same. 2 years passed without action, until England became politically isolated following the formal alliance between France and Spain, and the prospect of invasion prompted action on a national scale. So King Henry VIII of England sent commissioners across the country to assess the most vulnerable parts of the coastline. This resulted in a grand and expensive plan called the Device by the King, in which it was proposed that 30 new fortifications to protect ports, anchorages and landing places on the south and east coasts were to be built. On the south side of Carrick Roads, Pendennis was an ideal defensive location, connected to the mainland by a narrow neck of land. The earliest map of the area, from about 1540, depicts a ditch across the little isthmus, isolating the headland. The castles of Pendennis and St Mawes were built between the years 1540 and 1545. They were carefully planned for 360-degree defence of the estuary by guns mounted at several levels. Although the forts were planned for all-round fire, their primary purpose was to fire on ships in the estuary. In some cases, however, the circular design created blind spots in the field of fire, making the forts an easy target if they were to be attacked by land. St Mawes was particularly vulnerable to land attack from higher ground to the east, though it is possible that earthwork defences were made to counter such approaches, such as they were at Pendennis. As powerful as the forts were, they were a blind alley in military design, and within 10 years they would be eclipsed by low-lying forts, employing angular bastions which had emerged from Italy in the early 1500s. The design of the Italian system offered a greater balance between a fort's offensive and defensive capabilities. Building the forts at Pendennis and St Mawes represented some difficulties, since Cornwall was a long way from the centre of government in London. A Venetian ambassador remarked of Carrick Roads in the year 1506, "We are in a very wild place, which no human being ever visits, in the midst of a most barbarous race, so different in language and customs from the Londoners and the rest of England, that they are as intelligible to these last as to the Venetians." Despite what the ambassador said, Cornwall had a thriving economy based on tin mining and fishing, and a prosperous gentry who exercised great influence over local affairs. So the building of the castles was entrusted to local gentlemen under the guidance of government officials. In the year 1540, Lord Admiral Russell, the King's officer in the south-west, appointed Thomas Treffery of Foy to build St Mawes Castle. The builder of Pendennis is unknown, but its differing construction from that of St Mawes suggests that it was probably built by John Killigrew of Arwenack, on whose land it was built. From the year 1568, political and religious differences between England and Spain, aggravated by piracy and raiding, led to tensions between the two countries. Hostilities with Spain continued, in part due to acts of piracy being carried out by Cornish gentlemen. Spain retaliated by burning Killigrew House at Arwenack in the year 1593, and the partial burning of Penzance, Newlyn, Hall and Mousehole in the year 1595. In the years 1596 and 1597, a Spanish fleet under the command of Martin de Padilla, the Adelantado governor of Castile, was assembled. The objective was to capture Pendennis, then use the Carrick roads as a base for a campaign in England. However, the Armada was thwarted by bad weather and the invasion cancelled, which was perhaps just as well, since even Sir Walter Raleigh, a national maritime hero, was only able to muster 500 men for the defence of Pendennis, a grossly inadequate number compared to the Spanish force of 20,000.